I don't need 24 different versions of my guy. Like, well, obviously I don't need fucking shit because they're gonna make a white dude with brown hair anyway. But like, there doesn't need to be that many options.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, I don't really care if I, there's a few less colors of hair.
Like, it takes nothing away from our experience, but if it adds so much to so many other people's experience, then why the fuck wouldn't they do it?
I just think it depends on what you're talking about. Like, if you're talking about proper combat animations and stuff like that, maybe it shouldn't affect that.
I don't look. All I'm saying is, a person should be able to be represented by an avatar that's the same gender that they are.
I think it should be equal representation with interest. I think financially, like if we're saying, not a lot of girls are going to buy this game, and I do trust them to know their business. And if they think not a lot of girls will buy it, then maybe they should have an option. But
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean that's where we get to this thing where it's like, if in that perfect world, do an equal amount of girls buy the game?
Yeah.
And I don't think they do. I think
no, but even if an upswing of girls buy the game, if an upswing of women buy the game, then that's still a net positive. Like, it's not like people are gonna, guys are gonna stop buying the game because you've got female options.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I think if it gets to the stage, if we're talking about proper aspects of the game suffering, like there is less combat animations, there's less gear. Like if you took away 50% of the gear in Dark Souls, just for the sake of diversity, that wouldn't happen.
Dark Souls has.
I know, just purely an example. Like maybe I could think of a better example. Dark Souls is a bad example.
No, Dark Souls is a perfect example of what I'm talking about because it provides, it doesn't let that kind of stuff divert it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's how it should be.
Dark Souls is a good example of how to do it right. But if you had a game where gear was important, and there was this situation where you were making a decision where it's like, okay, because this was part of the discussion with the article and the resulting Reddit argument and stuff like that. It's like, would you take away from the game's assets, animations, stuff like that? Would you divert development hours to this for the sake of diversity? And then would a fan have the right to be angry if, for the sake of diversity, there was less?
Right.
And so that's when it gets to a stage where it's like, you got to make a call, where it's like, what is the real value of this diversity to, what's it really worth?
All right, well, I guess from a marketing / PR point of view, imagine the outcry over they diverted funds from my art assets so that they can add female options.
Yeah.
Versus the current shitstorm that Deep Down is facing over not having female options.
I think it'll pass. Honestly, shitstorm. I think
these storms are coming more and more frequently, and I don't think they're giving it used to be that these storms would just disappear. A girlfriend mode would be released, and everyone would forget eventually, etc., etc. Or people would admit that in the case of girlfriend mode, they were wrong. But in other cases, they were passing, but now they're staying. They might drift away, but they're still there at the background of the conversation, and it negatively impacts the reputation that the game has.
Well, I think there's nothing overtly offensive about this. Like girlfriend mode that's something to be mildly offended about, maybe. But there's nothing. I think this could be seen as just making a business decision, and I'm not so sure that they should. I think the reality is decisions aren't going to be made on a moral basis, right? I mean, this is one thing I've been reading about in terms of just sort of what real issues that women have to deal with in poverty-stricken nations and stuff like that, where it affects the economy, the plight of women, and all that sort of stuff. But when you're dealing with decision makers like CEOs, politicians, stuff like that, you're not going to change their mind on a moral basis. It's going to be on a financial case that change is made. And in this particular situation, I'm not even sure that change should be made on a moral basis. I think they're well within their rights to make change purely on a financial basis. I think that's completely understandable.
If they'd planned better from the outset, if they'd followed Dark Souls' guide better from the get-go, then there wouldn't be any controversy to begin with. So,
but then, do you want every game to be like that?
No, I don't want every game to be like that. But games where people have options, restricting those options just doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's, there's going to be some games like Dark Souls, and there's going to be some games like Deep Down. I think it's a shame that Brenna wants to play Deep Down and there's no female characters. But asking them to change the game for that, I mean, you're going to have to prove that it's worth it to them.
I definitely think it's too late for them to change Deep Down now.
When's it up?
Midway through this year.
Oh.
But, yeah, if it had come up earlier, if it had been raised earlier, or for Deep Down 2, surely, I don't know, I guess we have to wait and see what the story is. Maybe it is all seminal. But,
where's it being made?
Japan?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I put it this way. I think if you did a petition to say, we want female characters in this video game, that might change the specific game because they're just responding to the hate that they're going to catch. But that's not going to change the industry.
No.
I think if you want to change
But
the
the industry is changing. I mean, Call of Duty got a female character.
But how many people used it? In a first-person game, I'd like to see.
But it doesn't matter how many people used it.
I think it does.
No, it doesn't.
To me, it does.
No, it doesn't at all. Of course, it doesn't matter to you because you're a dude.
Well, I guess in a first-person shooter, you don't it's not too hard to include it anyway. But because you're not seeing, there's not a whole lot of animations to stick in there, so.
My girlfriend plays WoW as guy characters.
I play WoW as a girl character.
Yeah.
Because I like to look at a girl for hours on it instead of looking at a guy. But I think if instead of having a petition saying, we need girls in this game by everyone, which is making a moral point, if instead you had a petition saying, this is a petition signed only by girls who would have liked to play your game, but will now not because we really wanted to play as a girl.
Yeah.
And this is all the money you are missing out on. That, I think, is the most effective petition to make. That's something that will actually make them think, instead of just responding to heat, that's something that'll make them think, okay, this is something that we actually need to change our business model. We need to change our complete strategy.
Well, it doesn't have to be women who want to play as women characters.
Or yeah, people who, I doubt there's many men out there that aren't going to buy the game because they really wanted to play as a female character, but, but the sad thing is, I think that petition, if it was, actually just signed by girls who would have, bought the game, but won't because they can't play as a female character, I think that petition's kind of small. I think that's the truth of it. And that's what we're dealing with. It's a moral point we're trying to make.
Get closer to the fucking 3-point line.
This is all I know how to do.
Well, at least get closer.
He's not doing too bad.
He's doing quite well. He's thrown up about 53 pointers and he's clearly made at least 10.
Yeah. Anyway,
Almost 10.
so let's move on to some games.
Mm-hmm.
Have we played any games this week, team?
Yes.
Yes?
None that anyone wants
Why
to
don't we wait until Junglist is finished? No, I'll kick things off. I played some Witcher 2.
Two.
The Witcher 2,
Yeah.
yes.
2.
Assassins of Kings.
Did you download the 10 gigabyte update?
Is it what? No?
Okay, how'd you play it?
I bought it on GOG and played
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, that's the latest version.
Right.
They patched the crap out of that game.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, this is ages ago.
complete insanity. Like, I don't even think I've finished the fucking prologue yet.
No,
Yeah.
Where are you up to?
I'm still trying to escape some fucking jail.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the start.
where you got further than me?
God. It just never ends. Like, dear God. Just let me get out. I want to go hunt some fucking monsters or something.
Yeah, that's the next part.
So you've had the castle siege, where you're there with your king dude.
Your king, yep.
Yeah. So you've had all that. I didn't even get past that.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
well,
Yeah,
I
okay,
ran around there and the dragon showed up, and apparently witches don't fight dragons. I like the world of Witcher. I could be convinced if I could find Kindle versions of the books. I could be convinced to buy the books on Kindle. Kindle versions that are in English, obviously, but yeah.
Oh, there were books.
Yeah.
it's
The whole series, the
based
game
off
series is based
Oh,
off like a fucking legendary Polish fantasy series.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's
I
like
read that. Yeah.
it's like the fucking Bible to these Polish people.
It's the Polish Game of Thrones.
That's much
Game of
better.
Witches.
Much less blasphemous than mine.
yeah.
uh,
Probably a lot of Catholics in Poland, right?
yeah, probably. Yeah, so
So what was your problem? Did you do the tutorial?
yeah.
Okay, so that's new. That's something that actually patched in, because before it would just throw you into that start part and
Right.
was like, fucking go.
Do it.
And it wouldn't tell
Do it.
you
Do
what
it.
was going on. It was basically the original Dark Souls or Demon Souls, where it would just throw you in the deep end and be like, alright, we're going to tell you, here's all your spells, we're going to tell you how they work, we're not going to tell you how you block, just go, just run. But they put in that little tutorial bit later on.
Right.
And a bunch of things that they've learned from the next one they're making, 3, they've started putting a bit of that in there. And then they also released an unofficial mod as well that
Does shitless for the combat.
imports a bunch of that stuff in there as well. So there's like an unofficial mod that they made themselves that updates it. I mean, they're crazy over there.
Yeah,
those
they
guys.
do seem kind of crazy. The reason I started playing The Witcher 2 is because I got to see The Witcher 3 in action last week.
Game of the year, Witcher 3.
It could be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very sleeper. I mean,
I don't
2
see
was
how
pretty
it's gonna be a
sleeper. Well, just wait. Nobody outside of the games industry seems like the critics side seem to know this is coming. But I think once it lands, it's going to be fucking huge.
It looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's open world, and yeah, it's got all this. It's got like all these monsters all over the place. And you can go hunt them whenever you like, and like there's all these like elements that like hunting a monster affects the world in different ways.
What?
And so look, it was a preview build. They showed us a preview. I feel like this is a mild spoiler, but in a game the size and scope of The Witcher 3, it's probably not that grand a spoiler. But you hunt down this monster that has lived next to a village for centuries, and yeah, you go there. You have to kill this woman because it's attached itself to her. And if you kill the monster, then a village next door that had been sort of
Feeding
wanting
the
to
monster?
take over the space, but had never quite been able to because of the monster,
Yeah.
just sort of wipes through. So you kill the monster, which is the good idea, the good thing to do,
Yeah.
but it ruins.
Has this massive
ruins.
ramification. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know you've got other options that you can go through, and you don't even have to see the village. Like you could just come across a monster and kill it, and then you grab its head and take it, and go find someone who will pay for it.
Wow.
And yeah, like just ludicrous. I could not get over how pretty it was. There's sea monsters. You can go sailing. Yeah.
You be Witcher pirate.
No, it didn't seem like it would be a Witcher pirate. Oh, could steal from Calderon.
Sea turtles, aye.
And a layout
Charging clearly.
from Nowitzki.
Nowitzki!
But it's too late.
Pretty close, bro.
Pretty close. Only 20 points. 24 points.
Oh.
So it's a 24-point game. I'm a little worried about the combat.